Today, I'd like to talk to you about association executive councils. Now, you've heard me talk about state society of association executives. You've heard me talk about industry-specific societies of association executives. Association executive councils is a little bit different. And when you're doing your work, as you know, you've heard me say a million times, go deep in an industry. And when you're at the various association websites within an industry, I would highly recommend, especially for the national associations, I would highly recommend that you do a little bit of noodling around in the websites and see if you can find if there is an association executive council. Now, what an association executive council is, and just generally, broadly speaking, in a national association, the state association executive directors get together, have their own little entity to where they're talking about discussing their issues. They sometimes have their own special meetings. Sometimes they simply have a lunch at the association's national convention. But it's an opportunity for you to speak within an association at a different level and in a different type of a talk. You know, too frequently we call an association, talk to them about their annual meeting. If we don't get booked for that, we just kind of move on. But, you know, you've heard me say before, in addition to annual meetings, there are generally lots of other kinds of meetings, and there's the state chapter meetings. Well, if you can speak at an association executive council meeting, if your content is something that the state executive directors need, then you're going to both educate them and get a fee for that. And if the content is good enough that they think that their members should hear it, then you've got a good chance of speaking at their state meeting also. So it's a great thing. So I'm going to go into the screen share. I'm going to take you through a bunch of websites and walk you through some things, give you some ideas. And I'll tell you honestly, it's not always easy to find the association executive councils at an association, you know, even if they have them. So let me walk you through and let's talk about this. Okay, we'll go to the screen share. We'll put it in presentation mode, or at least we'll try to. There we go. Okay, so I've titled this conveniently, Association Executive Councils. What are they? Why should you care? Well, I think I've told you what they are, and I think I've told you why you should care. So now let me tell you how to find them. So this is Associated General Contractors. And if you want to just grab and do a bunch of screenshots, most of the websites, I've left the URL, the direct URL link at the very top. So Associated General Contractors, at their website, noodle around in the about and you'll find their chapters. And I've spoken to the Association Executive Council, and what it usually is, they have a luncheon at their annual meeting where all the executive directors were there. So my topic was on how to prove the ROI of membership and how to grow your organization. So, and then after speaking at Association Executive Council meeting, a number of the chapters hired me to come into their organization and do the same valuation for them. So this is something that you can do for you. Now, under chapters, you notice on the right here, it says Christy Beatty and Max Nielsen are the two people that are involved with the chapters. You can see there's their email address. You can see there's their phone number right over here. And so that's a possibility if you would like to speak to them. Now, Associated General Contractors are the large contractors, the ones that do the large buildings and the major roads. And so they've got pretty substantial budgets. So it's not small members or small organization. Now, when after noodling around, you can find that they have the Associated General Contractors, have the ELC, Executive Leadership Council. Now, again, some are going to be called Association Executive Councils, and some are going to have other names like Executive Leadership Council. You notice there's this is the page from last year's conference. They don't have this year's conference up just yet. And on the bottom it says the ELC conference has been rated the most valuable resource for chapter executives. So these are the executive directors from the various chapters. Now, staying in the general construction, PHCC, Plumbing, Heating, Cooling Contractors Association. Now, probably the only reason I even know that they have an association executive council is they contacted me. One of the state associations that I had been marketing to, she had told me that the gal that was the executive director, that she was the leader of their executive council that year. And so I spoke for their executive council meeting. So it's if you look at this, so we're at their website, but as I noodled around, it was really hard to find because they have their own website within PHCC's web for their association executive community. And you can see I've circled up here at the top their AEC Spectrum Conference. Again, so who you're going to be speaking to? You're going to be, if you get in to speak at these council meetings, it's all the state executive directors for the most part. And all these state executive directors, for the most part, are people that can hire you. And you know, when you hear me talk about, as I said earlier, go deep in an industry, make sure for every association you call all the state associations. Well, this is a great way to get plugged into the state associations within an area that you're looking to go down. Works out quite well. ABC, Associated Building and Contractors, Home Builders and others. Quite honestly, I couldn't even find on their website where they had it. However, I know they have it because I've spoken at the meeting. They do a leadership meeting every year where all the executive directors from the state ABCs and the volunteer leaders from the state ABCs come together, and they put on a special conference. So I couldn't find the page, but trust me, they do have it. And again, if you're talking to the editor, as I've told everybody to do, you know, get a hold of the editor, give the editor articles. You know, you can always ask the editor too, hey, does your organization have any kind of association executive council, a group where the executive directors get together either for a meeting or for lunch at the annual meeting? And usually the editor will be happy to give you that information. American Fire Sprinkler Association. Again, this is one that I really couldn't find it on their website, but I know they have it because I've spoken to their state executives. So the way they do theirs is kind of like others. At their annual meeting, they'll have a special lunch, and all the executive directors from the state fire sprinkler associations come. And again, I spoke to them about membership growth. Then we've got National Association of Manufacturers. Well, the National Association of Manufacturers is quite a large organization, and their council is a little bit different. And what it is, it's the Council of Manufacturing Associations. So NAM, National Association of Manufacturers, their members are manufacturing associations. The executive directors are part of their Council of Manufacturing Associations. On the bottom here on the screen where I've got it circled, CMA members. So here are all of the various associations that are members of NAM. You got hyperlinks to the associations. And the thing that I'm constantly telling people, when you're on a web page or on a website, keep scrolling around, keep noodling around. So on this page, I scrolled down and look here what I found at the very bottom, upcoming events, Summer Leadership Conference. That's their association executive council meeting. So all the leaders of the various manufacturing associations that are within the umbrella of NAM have a meeting, a summer and a winter meeting. Here's the information. This is this would be helpful to you. And here's a little bit more about their leadership conference. NAW, National Association of Wholesale Distributors, one step down on the supply chain. Now, I know they have an association executive council because I've spoken at it. And it's similarly with NAM, National Association of Manufacturers, the distribution associations that are related to the National Association of Wholesale Distributors, they have a meeting twice a year where all those executive directors get together. So I could not find the web page, and I did reach out to Patricia Lilly here, who I've circled. You find her under members, member programs. Patricia told me that they're still working on updating the website because they used to have a specific website within this web, or a specific web page or section for their association executive council. And their meeting they put on is the Association Executive Summit, and they do that twice a year. So you have here Patricia Lilly, she goes by Trish. You've got the person that's in charge. ATA, American Truckers or Trucking Association. Isn't it great? Guy's got the right there's got such a smile. I'm sure they're speaking at Congress or some other very serious place. Anyway, again, this is a very large national association. Members are various trucking associations around the country, whether they be state trucking associations or others. And so in noodling about the organization, again, have to kind of scroll down a little bit, and I look under affiliates, and these are related associations and also the 50 state trucking associations. And then they have the Trucking Association Executive Council. So again, here we are, the Trucking Association Executive Council, where all the state and other related trucking associations come together and the executive directors have a meeting. Also at the bottom of this page, you can notice that there's the list of the state associations at their website. Let's see, American Academy of Family Physicians. Now, I know that they have an association executive council meeting because I've presented at it. And you know, it was interesting when I presented at this, Corey Perlman was there. He was presenting on social media, and a couple other NSA people were speaking at that meeting. So at their website, we go to events and you go through the different months, and I find here coming up May 9th is the AAFP Leadership Conference. And it seems like every year it's in Kansas City area. And it was a great conference when I presented at it a few years ago, and they paid my fee. So I would encourage you in any industry. Now, let's see, here's a little bit about their meeting. And then the last example I'm going to throw at you, and I couldn't find it at their website, but I know they have it, California Medical Association, because I've presented to all of their local medical societies. And I did a 2-day workshop for them, and there's like, I don't know, 150 medical societies from around the state of California that all belong. But again, it was the executives of those local medical societies. So let me get rid of the screen share here for a second. So I'm back. So here's the thing. There's tons. There really are. There's tons of association executive councils, and not all, but a good number of the national associations will have something like this, where they either bring the chapter leaders together and or the chapter leaders and the executive directors. So one of the things that I would encourage you to do when you're out there looking at how you're going to sell to associations, how you're going to go deeper in an industry. If you're looking in an industry and you're looking at the national associations within that industry, and if you're noodling around on their website and looking to see if they have any kind of a state association executive meeting, or if you're going in the back door, as I tell everybody, write articles, give the articles to editors as the relationship bank deposit, then as the relationship bank withdrawal, ask the editor, who's the decision maker on selecting speakers, but also ask them, by the way, does your organization have any kind of an association executive council meeting, or even a luncheon at your annual meeting where all your state executive directors come together and look at the possibility of speaking at that meeting? Because like I said, you've got all of the state executive directors right there. If you do an awesome job, well, then they're going to bring you into their association. Well, I hope you found that helpful. And I'm going to, before I pass it over to Aiden, I will just put a little pitch in for our community. Many of you are members of the Association Society Speakers community. And I would just encourage any of you that aren't members of the Association and Society Speakers community, join. We've got so much in the community to help you sell to associations. Well, Aiden, back over to you.